The most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
When I was in high school, I worked at the movie theater, and there was this woman that was enraged. She walked up to me and she demanded a refund because she got up to get some popcorn in the middle of the movie, and we didn't pause it for her. So I thought she was joking. I laugh at this woman's face. And she says, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm like, "Because you ain't know. We don't pause the movie at the movie theaters, ma'am. There's a whole audience in there. They don't know you. We don't have a remote. We're not just going to pause it every time you get up. What are you talking about?" So she just looks at me. She goes over and she fills up her popcorn again. As she walk out. She must not have been well.
Is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service?
I used to work in a cafe that sold toasted sandwiches, and it said, "Toasted sandwiches, your choice of 4 fillings," right? So this lady has gone ahead and ordered what I assume to be 4 toasted sandwiches because she lists off 4 different things. So it's like ham, cheese, tomato, onion, chicken, avocado, tomato, and lettuce, like whatever. So 4 different sandwiches. And when they arrived, she looked at it and she was like, "This isn't what I wanted. I don't want 4 sandwiches." What she thought she was getting, she thought each triangle of the sandwich was going to have 4 different fillings in it. She thought she was going to get like a multi-thing of sandwiches. But my thing was, is she saw the price of it. Clearly that was way too expensive to just be 1 sandwich, and she paid for it and she didn't really realize. And I had to explain to her that we can't just make a quarter of a sandwich, and she couldn't figure out that I couldn't make her a quarter of a sandwich. Anyway, yeah, that was it.
The most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
Literally anything that involves common sense. No, we cannot accept an expired coupon. No, we cannot let you in the store before we open. No, the buy one get one half off on socks does not apply to shoes. No, you cannot leave the store with the merchandise and then come back and pay for it later. No, your child cannot wear the spikes for a football game and then you can return them later. No, the buy one get one half off on shorts does not apply to pants. The Olympia t-shirts that are on this table that are 5 for $25 does not include Nike, Under Armour, or Champion because they are not Olympia sports tees. No, we cannot accept a coupon and give you a coupon that you claim exists but have no evidence of this coupon existing.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
Hi, thank you for calling the bank. How may I help you? Yes, I see a problem with my account. It looks like there's money coming out of it from my debit card. Yes, your debit card is connected to your account, so when you use your debit card, it comes out of your account. Why is it not coming out of my debit card? Why is it coming out of my account? That is how debit cards work. They're all connected to checking accounts, or sometimes a savings account. I don't want it connected to my account. I want money to come out of my debit card, not my account. Well, unfortunately, that's not how it works. It has to come out of your account because debit cards don't have their own money. Well, that is ridiculous. I'm going to close all of my accounts and send a complaint to the bank. Was there anything else I could help you with? No.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer?
So I used to work in financial aid many years ago. And I took escalations, things like that. And I had a woman transferred to me who was very upset because her refund was late. And we've been basically on the phone for over an hour, and she's explained to me she's very upset about this refund being late because she needs to buy a new computer. Totally understand, school's expensive. And because we're on the phone for over an hour, she's kind of telling me more things about her life story. And she's explaining to me, and she makes a passing comment that this is the 7th computer that she's gone through. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, you're a PhD student, it's going to take you a lot of computers to get through your program, or multiple degrees is what I was thinking. She clarified this was her 7th computer in 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, well, did you drop the computers? What did you do to the computers? And I asked her that, and she goes, no, they just shut off on me and they can't turn back on. what do you mean you can't turn them back on? And I'm like, are they a desktop? What does the computer look like? They're a laptop. And I said, well, did you charge them? Is that why they're not turning back on? She goes, no, there's no charger. I'm like, do you have any of these computers nearby? She goes, yeah, I have all the boxes. And I said, did any charger come with the box? And she goes, there's no such thing as a charger. So we go around this for a while. I asked her to go get the box from the computer, and I asked her to look inside of it, and she goes, oh, yeah, I found a cord to something. I said, okay. Takes another 15 minutes in convincing her to plug the computer in. When she plugged the computer in, pressed the button, and it turned on, she started screeching in my ear and started yelling at her husband, who was sitting next to her. Apparently, she threw 7 brand new computers out because she didn't know how to charge them. This person was in a PhD program. 7 brand new computers in the dumpster that she can't ever get back.
Is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
I finally left working retail after being in retail from the time I was 17. I just mentally snapped and couldn't take it anymore. So here's a compilation of some of my favorite things I have actually had to say to people in retail. Ma'am, I understand, but I can't take this product because it doesn't physically belong in our store. This is a Target bag, and this is a Target receipt, and this is a Target product. This is Kohl's. Hey, boys, how old are you? 17? Yeah, quit eating the lipstick on display. Quit eating it. Stop putting it in your mouth. Sir, I understand that your wife didn't like the perfume, and I'm seeing the receipt and the box and the product, but my problem is why I won't take it is because this perfume bottle is now full of water. It's full of water. The perfume's not even in this any further. I won't. No, I am the manager. No. My mother is an avid shopper at your store, and you're telling me that you're not going to allow me, her daughter, to use her credit card, even though she's not here. I can get her on the phone to approve these charges.
Is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
Back when I worked at Subway, a lady had asked for a kid sub as part of her order. And at least when I worked there, we made the kid subs 3 inches big. So I took a 6-inch piece of bread from the cabinet and I cut it in half right in front of her. She rudely interrupts me and says, excuse me, what are you doing? And I explained to her that I'm making the kid subs and that they're 3 inches in size, thinking that maybe she just didn't realize how small they were, and asked if she would rather have a 6-inch instead. But she says, well, you just made me a 2-inch sub. So I explained to her that I'd taken a 6-inch piece, cut it in half to make a 3-inch, and I thought she was going to argue that the 6-inch wasn't 6 inches or whatever, and that cutting half was smaller. But she looks me square in the eyes and says, half of 6 is 2. Are you trying to rip me off? I need to speak to your manager. My manager ended up having to hold a ruler up to the piece of bread to prove that it was 3 inches, and she still just scoffs and says,
Most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting.
Hold on, I got one. So a crew member answers the phone, they need a manager, they get me on the phone. I'm like, hi, how can I assist you? She immediately starts yelling about how a DoorDasher forgot her 2-liter soda, and I'm like, okay, I'm really sorry about that. There's not really much we can do. We can either send the Dasher back, or you can come pick it up yourself another day or another time. And then she just starts screaming about how, well, then why do you guys deliver with DoorDash? You guys should stop. That is above my pay grade. And I'm like, yeah, we try to remind whoever to pick up sodas, pick up anything else. They have reminders in their app. We have signs. There's a soda cooler right behind the portal, which we use for people to pick up online orders. I'm like, I'm sorry. There's not really too much I can do. I'm really sorry. Not my fault, but... And then she just starts going off about how, well, why don't we just put the sodas with the pizzas? Well, it's in a heater, so I don't... The soda cooler's right behind the portal. I don't know what else you want me to do. I don't want to put a 2-liter in a heater. I'm sorry.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer...
So, I used to work at a pizza place. And one day, a woman came in, ordered a half-and-half pizza with bacon on one side and pepperoni and black olives on the other. She came back about 2 minutes after receiving the pizza, complaining that something was wrong with it. So we asked her what is going on, what this is what we have, this is what's on the pizza, and then she started complaining that the toppings were on the wrong side, that the bacon was supposed to be on the left, and the pepperoni and black olives were supposed to be on the right. So, me being the smart aleck that I am, I grabbed the round pizza with gloves, turned it 180 degrees. And when I tell you, the look on her face went from, I'm going to get my money back, to, I am dumb, never mind. Asked for a to-go box, left a massive tip, and walked out. I had to explain to a 50, 60-year-old woman what a circle was. I wish I was joking. You just can't make it up.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service setting?
That not only I couldn't return bikini bottoms because it was unsanitary and they were final sale, but because they had a period stain on it.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone?
Baez hits it on the ground to third. Gonzalez. This is so good. Oh my goodness. Wow, you gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. They stole a run. You have gotta be kidding me. Javi Baez. Keep going. Go. Think you're invisible.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service?
Good morning, what can I get for you? I'll have a dozen. Okay, which ones would you like? Let me get 3 glaze and 5 chocolate. Okay, you got 4 more for the dozen. How many are in the box? Right now there's 8 in here, so another 4 would make the dozen. No. How many are in the box? 5 chocolate and 3 glaze makes 8. I've been coming here for 10 years and you can't answer a simple freaking question? I'm sorry, could you reiterate since I'm not answering your simple freaking question? How many donuts are in the box? Are you asking me how many come in a dozen? Yes. A dozen is 12. Of anything. Of eggs, donuts, and all kinds of stuff.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone?
So I once had a woman email me, and she was complaining about that her headband that she just bought for me had fallen apart. And so I asked for her order number, and she said that she had bought it from me at a craft show. And I've only done like 2 craft shows in my whole life. And I was like, and I hadn't done one recently. So I was like, what craft show are you talking about? And she gave me the name of the craft show. And I was like, no, I didn't go to that one. And she freaked out on me and was saying that I was there and I was trying to scam her and steal her money. And then I looked up the craft show, and it turns out it was a really big craft show in Alaska. I live in Michigan. I've never been to Alaska in my whole life. So I had to explain that to her and send her screenshots of I'm based in Michigan, and she still didn't believe me and was still mad. So that's.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone?
I had my own house cleaning business, and I'd been cleaning these people's house for almost a year. And at that point, I had been coming every week to clean their house. It was $60. I had been coming every week for 6 months. And they decided that they didn't have to pay me anymore. So the first time that they decided that, they said, so-and-so has the money, and we have to go real quick. Our kid's going to be late. It's Boy Scout sign up, whatever night. I said, okay, fine. They're like, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll pay you next week double. I said, okay. Next week comes, they tried to get off with only paying me for 1. I said, no, you still owe me for last week too. And she says, oh, well, husband has the money. I said, oh, that's awesome. Well, I'll just sit here. And I sat down on their stairs inside their house. And she goes, what? I said, oh, no, see, I'm not leaving until I get paid. And so then, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. I was like, yeah, no, we're not playing this game. I said, you owe me $60 every week, every time I come clean your house. Payment is due, as we discussed a year ago, at time of service. So next week comes, and the parents aren't there, and they've left their 25-year-old daughter there. And she's like, yeah, they said they want you to still clean and I'll take care of it when you're done. I said, okay. So I clean their house and I get in and she goes, oh, well, I don't have money. I don't pay you. And I said, we've had this conversation, your parents and I. I was like, you know this conversation. I said, I did the work. I'm demanding payment. And she's like, okay, well, let me call stepdad. So she calls stepdad. Stepdad says, I'm on my way home. I said, inform him. And she goes, oh, you're on your way home? I said, no. Inform him that I am going to sit here and wait. I sat in the yard for 3 hours waiting for him to show up to pay me. And he goes, I don't know why we have to pay you. I said, because I clean your house. He goes, but you've been doing it for a year. I said, I've been coming every week for 6 months. I said, when I agreed to clean your guys' house, I told you payment is due at time of service. And he goes, well, I'll have to talk to the wife. Wife ends up messaging me and says, well, we've decided that since we've been paying you for a year, we're not going to pay you anymore. I said, okay, well, I said, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Have a great day. She goes, no, you're still coming and cleaning. I was like, that's not how this works.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service?
Oh, I got one for this. So I worked at In-N-Out for about 2 years, and we had a lot of weird customers come in and asking for weird things. But this one lady came in and she asked for a cheeseburger with no cheese. So I was like, okay, so do you mean a hamburger? I was like, no cheese on that. And she said, no, I asked for a cheeseburger, no cheese. So I'm like, okay. So I ring her up for a hamburger so I don't charge her that extra couple cents for the cheeseburger. And I handed her a receipt and she just went off on me saying that's not what she ordered, that she wanted a cheeseburger, no cheese. So I said, okay, I took it back. I rung her up for a cheeseburger and made a note that it was no cheese. And so we had about a 5-10 minute debate about that the difference between a hamburger and a cheeseburger. Well, a couple minutes pass by, she gets her food and she comes up to me and is very upset that her cheeseburger, no cheese, didn't have cheese on it. So that was fun. Yeah.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service?
That when you get roots after 6 weeks, or this right here, it's not that the color faded off of your roots, your hair grows.
What's the most ridiculous thing you've had to explain to someone while working in a customer service setting?
Okay, so she is asking, what's the most ridiculous thing that you've ever had to explain to someone working in a customer service setting? And so some of you may know that I used to work at Kirkland's, the home store. I worked there for several years and nothing really super weird happened, but this is the weirdest. So I'm up at the front counter one day and this woman walks up with a candle that she's wanting to return. And so she brings the candle to the counter and she says, hi, I would like to return this candle. It doesn't work anymore. And I said, let me take a closer look. So I open the candle, look inside, it's empty. The candle has been fully burned and she wants to return it because the candle is no longer working. Ma'am, I'm sorry, we can't return your candle or replace it and give you a new one because you've used it all. Like, the audacity.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone?
When I had just come back from maternity leave, my director reported me to my VP, stating that I was taking my purse and leaving the building several times a day. I explained to them that that was not my purse and I was using the mothering room, which was company provided. And they had this dumb look on their face. And I said, I am going to the mother's room because I just had a child and I am nursing. And they still had a dumb look on their face. And they said, so are you like calling your baby or something? Yeah.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer?
One time when I was working customer service at Best Buy, this woman came in and she handed me an Office Max receipt and she's like, please return this item. And I was like, ma'am, are you sure this is the correct receipt? And she was like, yes, please return the item. So I scanned the item in our system to make sure that she didn't just give me the wrong receipt and it said item not found. So it was in fact purchased at Office Max. And I was like, ma'am, I cannot return this item with an Office Max receipt. And she's like, why not? I literally gave you the purchase receipt. And I was like, ma'am, I cannot return this item. And we kept going back and forth. And she's just like, I gave you the receipt. Why can you not return the item? And eventually I was like, ma'am, this is a Best Buy, not an Office Max. And she stopped and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're right. This is a Best Buy. I'm sorry. She was super nice, but I was just like, what?
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service center?
Hi, welcome into the restaurant. Did you have a reservation with us today? Yes, we had a reservation under Smith. Sure, I've got it right here. If you'll follow me. Oh no, we put a reservation out on the patio. If you see that on the notes. Yes, I do see that in the notes, but it is thunderstorming outside currently. Well, I want to sit on the patio. That's why I made a reservation on the patio. Are you stupid? Well, this is absolutely ridiculous. I need to speak to a manager now. So look no further. I am the manager on duty. Well, then let us sit out on the patio. Okay. It's raining. Yes, it is.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a
I am TikTok famous because I take children's toys, I fill them with water, I give them the slap, and then I throw them down my stairs and laugh hysterically.
What was a ridiculous thing you had to explain in customer service?
You guys ever heard of the FBI? Because a couple years ago, they hired me and my food truck. This is my food truck. It's called the Beignet Truck. They hired me to serve about 200 people in the Federal Bureau of Investigation in about 2 hours. Now, mind you, I've been doing this for about 10 years, so I know exactly what I'm doing. I roll up to this event, and all 200 of these FBI people roll up to my food truck. So obviously there's going to be a large line. The guy from the FBI that I've been organizing this with starts freaking out at me. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's such a huge line. How can you make this happen? I had no idea that there was going to be a huge line. I then had to explain to him how lines work. I said, sir, if you wanted all the product to be pre-made so that everyone could just grab it and go, we could have organized that. But you chose for them to be served hot and fresh to order. His response was, yes, I wanted them hot and fresh to order, but I didn't want there to be a line. So I said, sir, you wanted me to serve 200 people in an instant without a line? He said, I'm not crazy, you're crazy. I then asked him, what can I do to make you happy? Because, you know, I'm a businessman and I want people to leave happy. He then demanded that I take $300 off the top of the bill. I said, hey, like, I would love to make you happy, but I'm like a small business, and taking $300 out of my pocket, being a large government agency, doesn't seem fair. He then began to berate me with a bunch of insults, including calling me like a bad business owner and whatnot. Incompetent was another thing. And he said that I would be lucky if I even got paid at all now. I then had to take the $300 out of my pocket and give it to the Federal Bureau of Investigation because they didn't understand the concept of a line. I don't know, call me crazy, but I guess I just figured the FBI would have a concept of how the world works.
What is the most ridiculous thing you have ever had to explain to someone in a customer service center?
I once had to explain as a manager at Trader Joe's that New Jersey is on the Atlantic Ocean. And I had to do that because a woman came up to me and asked, I need local Pacific salmon. And I said, well, we're in New Jersey. And she said, I don't care. I need local Pacific salmon. And I said, well, we have Atlantic salmon. And she said, no, it has to be Pacific and local. And I said, well, we don't live on the Pacific Ocean. You need to move to the West Coast if you need local Pacific salmon. And she got very upset at me, called me a few bad words, and said she'd find it at Whole Foods. And I said, good luck with that. I'm sure you can find it at Whole Foods in another state on the other side of the United